So hello everybody, and thank you for joining us this evening for our 6th annual InspiHER celebration. This is an event where we celebrate women in our community, and just looking around the room at all 250 of you, we'd like to thank you for joining us. This event, which we celebrate women in our community, those who have broken barriers, those who are still working for equity, and those who will continue to break glass ceilings. My name is Lindsay Engel, and I am the Dean for the Faculty of Applied Science and Technology at Sheridan College, and I will be your host this evening. And I'm sure, like you do, on every International Women's Day, I like to think about the women who have inspired me, who have created space for me. I think of my brilliant mother who left our family's homestead and moved into the big city of Calgary. I think of my kids who are 6 and 9 who have taught me more about kindness and courage than anyone I know. I think of professors who have inspired me. I think of mentors who have asked more than me than I had to give. I think of amazing female college presidents who lead with tenacity and grit and inspire me to be more. And when I think of all these women, what I think about is the space that they create for me. They create opportunities for me to be more, for me to see more, and for me to experience more. And I hope tonight that's what we create collectively, is a space where we all have the opportunity to be more. As we start, please join me in acknowledging the land on which we gather and our commitment to foster renewed relationships built on a foundation of mutual trust and respect and understanding. The Brampton Board of Trade operates in the city of Brampton within the region of Peel, and this region is on the treaty lands of the territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples have inhabited and cared for this land and other regions along the corridor. Specifically, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabeg, the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, the Ojibwa, and the Chippewa peoples, and this land is home to the Métis, and most recently, the territories of the Mississauga of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are grateful to have this opportunity to work on this land, and by doing so, give our respect to its first inhabitants. As participants in today's event, we are coming together as one. We believe that everyone is free to be their true self and receive the same respect and opportunities regardless of age, ethnicity, gender, culture, sexual identity, orientations, beliefs, or language. We hope you will join us in fostering a positive environment to ensure a safe and welcoming space for all. As a lot of you may know, the InspiHER event was started 6 years ago around a conversation about what was missing from the local International Women's Day celebrations. It was determined that Brampton needed an event that focused on celebrating local business women, bringing Brampton's business women together and inspiring each other through, of course, the Brampton Board of Trade. And InspiHER was born, an evening to come together to celebrate each other. It's an evening of camaraderie, fun, fabulous food, and there will be time to get more, and building each other up. International Women's Day is not of one country, one group, nor one organization. No one government, NGO, charity, corporation, or even academic institution, Women's Network, or Media Hub is solely responsible for its celebration. The day belongs to all groups, collectively, everywhere. Gloria Steinman, world-renowned feminist and journalist activist, once said, "The story of women's struggle for equality belongs not with a single feminist, nor to any one organization, but the collective efforts of all who care about human rights." So make International Women's Day our day and do what you can to truly make a positive difference in the lives of women. This evening, I would like to thank our sponsors for this event who continually live the values of International Women's Day and have supported the work that is done by the Brampton Board of Trade. Presenting sponsors is Dynacare, They're here, of course, in full force to show their ongoing commitment to supporting women in leadership, including past chair. Donna, did you want to give a wave? Thank you for this support for this important event, and of course for sharing the microphone. For those of you who are disappointed that Donna is not up here tonight, I'm sure she will return soon. Our platinum sponsors are Maple Lodge Farms and Humber College. Thank you both for your sponsorship for InspiHER. To Sheridan College, of course, Canon Canada, Merit Credit Union, and Bell Canada are all gold sponsors. Silver sponsors Prowse, Dash, and Crouch. Your support and leadership is very much appreciated. I'm also pleased tonight, on behalf of the Board of Directors, to welcome a few important guests. Councillor Santos, Councillor Brar are both here with us this evening and join us as some ambitious entrepreneurs. If you have a few moments at the break, please take a moment to say hello and to find some young leaders in the room and offer encouragement. You'll also find inspiring young business people at table 26. 26? No one's there, so they're still to come. There's one of our inspiring, wonderful women that's just moved over there. And I'm also pleased to welcome my fellow directors, Donna, of course, Kate, and Usha. I had to duck to see Usha, but I see her over there. I would like to ask you to join me in welcoming Vito Ciceretto from Dynacare, President and CEO, to the podium to say a few words.
Thank you, Lindsay. And thank you, everybody. Thank you to the Board of Trade for this distinct honor of having us here tonight for our InspiHER event. I'd like to extend a warm greeting to everyone in attendance. We have such an inspirational crowd of women leaders in our audience tonight. I think it'll be very, very exciting. It's a great honor for Dynacare to be able to sponsor the Nassim Somani Memorial Award for Leadership Excellence, which my colleague, Donna Fagan-Pascal, will present later this evening. This award is very, very important to us, as it honors the legacy of our previous CEO, the late Nassim Somani, who did so much to advance healthcare in Canada and to elevate the role of women in the business community. This event is also important to us as we're an active member of the Brampton community, and we're passionate, very passionate about equity, diversity, and inclusion, particularly as it pertains to ensuring an equitable playing field for women in society. Each and every day, we are committed to advancing health and wellness with commitment and care in all of the communities that we operate across the country. In advance of International Women's Day, it is fitting that we gather here today for InspiHER, which marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity. Thank you once again to the Brampton Board of Trade for inviting us to participate tonight, and congratulations once again to all of the incredible InspiHER nominees. Thank you.
Thank you, Vito. I'm very excited to introduce our next guest. For those of you who attended the State of the City a few weeks ago, you'll recognize Lena DeMarco from Bell. Her role in promoting mental health through Belle's Let's Talk campaign has opened so many doors for so many honest conversations. Speaking of which, you would have noticed on your invitation an opportunity to bring feminine hygiene products with you tonight to donate to Help a Girl Out. And thank you for everybody who took the opportunity too. We're hoping that there's so much that we're gonna have to help her out with it, because we are really, really excited to see all the help, all the contributions. And you know, when you start an evening talking about periods, it's gonna be a night of open and honest conversations. So please join me in welcoming Lena.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you all for joining us here this evening. I do want to give a shout out to Christy for an amazing event this evening, to her and her team, so congratulations. Last year at the Brampton Business Awards, Belle had the honor of presenting the Community Impact Award to Help a Girl Out for their incredible work in fighting period poverty. Along with the award that was given to them, Belle also sponsored their first gala. We have also supported HAGO through Belle's employee giving program. And before I introduce the chair of HAGO, I would like to bring forward that the 2023 Belle Let's Talk Community Fund is now open. The Community Fund provides annual grants of up to $25,000 to Canadian registered charities to increase access to mental health support and services in communities across Canada. So if you know an organization, please have them apply on the Belle website, or if you know anyone that here in this evening, I would be happy to take their name and help them through the process of the application. So the grants are from $5,000 to $25,000. And the deadline is March 15th for the application. And now I want to introduce the chair, Help a Girl Out, HAGO. HAGO is a Canadian-based nonprofit that aims to end period poverty in Canada and developing countries. And also I want to give a shout out, if you see these cards on the table, they are having their 5th anniversary gala, and that is on October the 28th. So please join me in welcoming Andrea Barrett, Chair of HAGO Board, to tell you a little bit more about this.
Hi, my name is Unique Branford, and I'm the founder of Help a Girl Out. I had it. Help a Girl Out is an anti-poverty organization that is based in Brampton, Canada. We provide period and hygiene care products to people that need it in Canada, as well as in various different developing countries, for example, in the Caribbean and countries in Africa. I started Help a Girl Out because I realized that period poverty is a global issue that affects everyone who has a uterus. But period poverty is fueled by the stigma that is associated with menstruation. We do anti-stigma campaigns just to change the conversation around periods. We do a lot of workshops, educational workshops, period poverty workshops, and workshops to explore the different menstrual products. So the 5,000 reusable project is a project that's very close to my heart. So we found over the years of distributing disposable period products that after a few months, the individual will be in the same situation that they were in at the start. So because of that, what we've decided to do is hand out reusable menstrual products. But we weren't able to afford the pads just to buy them right off the top, so we decided to sew them. So currently we have over 200 sewers all across Canada in every province, and they've just come together to sew 5,000 reusable pads for 1,000 individuals across the provinces. With the 5,000 Reusables project, we are conquering period poverty sustainably. Regardless of your race, your cultural background, your ethnicity, or your nationality, we need to make periods positive for everyone. We know how to do this. We just need your help.
Good evening, everyone. Brampton Board of Trade, you have outdone yourself. City of Brampton, Brampton businesses, Brampton residents, thank you so much. My name is Andrea Barrett, and I am the chair of the board at HAGO. When we walked in, we were inspired, we were blown away, we were like, my car's not big enough, what are we gonna do? Thank you so much for your kindness and your generosity, and for thinking of others. HAGO is a grassroots organization with a small board and a small but mighty group of volunteers. 1 in 3 people under 25 years old struggles to afford menstrual supplies. 1 in 3. I'm not talking about a different country. I'm not talking about a third world country. I'm talking about right here in Canada, 1 in 3. We need your help. You've outdone yourself tonight, and I hope you will continue to support us. We need drivers to help us deliver everything that we collect. We need sewers. Unique mentioned that we have 200. We would love to double that number. If you are a sewer, you have children who sew, you have elders in your family that sew and need something to do, please let us know. Drivers and sewers. We also need people that will pack the kits. Have a great packing party. We want to thank the wonderful people at Bell for having a packing party and collecting all sorts of great supplies for us. Our fearless leader, as you saw in the video, her name is Unique Brantford. She is the founder of Help a Girl Out. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Medical Physics and is completing her Master's in Biomedical Physics at TMU University. TMU! Her area of research aims to improve medical imaging and proton therapy cancer. She's a 3-time entrepreneur, multi-medium artist, STEM educator, and nuclear physics tutor to 3rd-year students at TMU. We hang out with the right people. They say you're a reflection of the company you keep, so we're doing okay. Her struggle with period poverty began when she grew up in Jamaica. So I look at Unique, and we all look at her, and we're just inspired and motivated by her. Grew up in Jamaica, where she grew up in a low-income student when she came to Canada. She's inspired by her mother, who handcrafted pads for her to wear to school so that she could have equal education and escape the poverty that she was exposed to in her home. So our lives were sort of mimicking each other. Unique's family grew up in Jamaica. My family is from Jamaica. But here in Canada, I never had a reusable sanitary napkin. There's a Shoppers Drug Mart, a Walmart, a Loblaws, a 7-Eleven, a Costco, steps away from wherever we are. We are lucky, we are fortunate, and we are grateful. Unique has a passion to end period poverty. Since 2020, HAGO has distributed hundreds of thousands of hygiene and menstrual product kits to the homeless, to refugees, BIPOC, and low-income communities in Toronto, the GTA, and beyond. The COVID-19 crisis had severely impacted Canadians, forcing many families who were living below the poverty line because their situation was simply getting worse. Unique, again, we're very proud of her, and unfortunately she couldn't be here tonight, but she has been awarded the Global Citizens Canada's Hero Award for her advocacy work through Help a Girl Out, and the Viola Desmond Award by TMU. She's also received the Brampton Board of Trade Community Impact Award, and most recently, the Toronto Youth Cabinet Youth Advocacy Award. In March of 2021, HAGO was selected as a recipient of the GTAA's Propeller Project Nest Fund, and that is when we launched the Reusable Project Sewing Reusable Pads, which has significantly impacted period poverty right across the country. We thank you for your support. We're doing our best. We need your help. It is our goal to end period poverty in Canada and right around the world. We can't do this without you. Again, I thank you for your support. Thank you for all the donations that you have left outside. We invite you to join us in October at our gala, and please visit our website. Again, if you are a sewer or know a sewer, send them our way. If you know any drivers and anyone wants to help, please visit our website. And again, we thank you for your support. Thank you, Brampton Board of Trade, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Lena, and thank you, Andrea. We all deserve dignity, and dignity begins with eradicating period poverty, and I am happy to become one of your sewers. Me and my 2 wonderful little girls will be the first ones to approach you about joining. So I know many of you were called to action in this room, and if you're interested in getting involved with HAGO, if you're interested in becoming a sewer or a driver or would just like to donate more to this cause, Andrea will be with us for the remainder of the night and is happy to talk about how to get yourself or your business involved. So the next part of our evening involves a presentation of the Naseem Somani Award for Leadership Excellence. For those of you who attended last year, and I saw her in the crowd earlier, and I see her now, you'll remember my boss, Dr. Janet Morrison, was the proud recipient, and she's here tonight. I'm gonna get her to stand up, wave. I consider myself so lucky to work at Sheridan College, and one of the reasons that I joined Sheridan is because of the inspirational female leadership that guides the ship there. So she is here tonight, and she will congratulate our 2023 recipient and proudly carry on the support of our fellow businesswomen. To introduce the 2023 award, please join me in welcoming Donna Fagan-Pascal of Dynacare, past chair, renowned MC to this stage, and the Brampton Board of Trade, and of course, a well-known cheerleader of women's leadership.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this evening to celebrate wonderful women in our community. And it's, for me, such a pleasure to celebrate Naseem Somani, who was such an important member of our community. We lost Naseem a number of years ago, and for us it was devastating for our organization. She was a giant in the eyes of many of the Dynacare employees, but she was also seen as a giant in the community that we served. Naseem was the former CEO at Dynacare and was an outstanding business leader, known for her competitive, kind, collaborative, and humble spirit. I just want to share a small story about, I met Naseem back in around June of 2015, and at that time, I had made the decision to leave, I was working for an organization which will remain nameless, don't go search it up on my LinkedIn, that just was not representative of my personal values. And I remember I made this declaration. I said 2 things. One is, I want to work in healthcare, and that is, I just felt that that has to be an industry where people care about people, you know, just by virtue of the work they do. And then I said, I also want to work for a leader that really cares about people and doing the right thing at all times. And no word of a lie, 2 weeks later, I got a call from a headhunter and said, we've got this great job in healthcare with this amazing leader who's a woman. And I was like, oh, I've never had a female boss before. This is really cool. And I would love to, you know, vie for the position. And then when I met Naseem, I went home that evening and I prayed and I said, thank you, because this is exactly who I want to work for. So every single meeting that I had at Dynacare, and I met Vito through the meetings, I teased Vito that he was a very hard interviewer. He was like, he was a really tough interviewer. But the point is that Naseem embodied such compassion, such care about people, but at the same time, she had such an amazing, unique balance about business, and she was so smart about those things. I called her a unicorn because she was such an unusual CEO. She wasn't the typical CEO that you saw out there. She would mentor frontline employees. They would come into her office. She would coach them. I mean, if somebody's mother or father passed away, she'd write personal notes. She'd show up at their funeral. Like, Naseem was really embodied something that you just don't see every day. And so when the Board of Trade decided to create this leadership award, it's so befitting because I think this is any woman that gets nominated for this. When the board sits down and talks about the type of woman that is deserving of this award, the key things that stand out for us is humility, compassion, care. Those things are just non-negotiable because that was Nasim, true and true. So it's a real pleasure for me to talk about this great woman and how she grew our business. I think she worked at our company for over 30 years and grew that business. How she established herself in the community. She was a champion for healthcare, a champion for health equity, and a champion in her own community. Nasim was such an advocate for her own community. The Brampton Board of Trade established this award for her, calling it the Nasim Samani Memorial Award for Leadership Excellence. And it really, I think, recognizes that profound impact that she had in the lives of many, particularly women leaders. Like, she inspired women leaders in our company. And even today, there are some women that have worked with her in the past, and if you get a chance to talk to them, you can tell you how she actually personally inspired them. The Nasim Samani Memorial Award for Leadership Excellence is also designed to recognize and encourage a woman's personal development and professional leadership. It's exactly these traits, among many other virtues, that Nasim was known for, and she has really left a lasting impression and legacy. So beginning in 2020, the award was presented to a deserving woman that demonstrates leadership, innovation, service, and overall contribution. And I'm so pleased to welcome Nasim's family, who are here today. I don't know if you all would wave, and Nasim's family's here today. And it's an honor to welcome Nasim's sister, Naz Jetta, to join me here to present the award.
Thank you, Donna. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Angela Carter. She's right there. Angela is currently the executive director of the Roots Community Services, Inc., a charitable multi-service organization that provides culturally relevant programs and services in order to inspire, empower, and motivate individuals, primarily from the Black, African, and Caribbean communities, so to make positive changes in their lives and within their communities. In this capacity, she actively advocates for the advancement of Black and other racialized communities and works tirelessly to break down systemic racism and other barriers that continue to negatively impact members of these communities. She currently co-chairs the Anti-Black Racism and Systemic Discrimination Collective in the region of Peel and the Black Health Task Force of Peel, as well as represent Roots Community Services on several committees in Peel, Halton Region, and Toronto that are seeking equity and equality for all groups. As a social and behavior change communications advocate, Angela has a deep interest in how various cultures developed and evolve and how the participation of communities is shaping policies that impact their well-being. She is passionate about reducing poverty and helping people attain a quality of life that brings joy and prosperity to them and their community. This passion has taken her to more than 20 countries, including India, where she volunteered at a school in Punjab and conducted training sessions with the management board at a hospital in that state. Angela has a strong corporate background, working in the financial sector, as well as in leadership position in journalism, and as a general manager of the Cricket Legends of Barbados. These experiences coupled with many years of voluntary service in the Greater Toronto Area and Barbados, has given her valuable insights into balancing the business needs as well as the human side of the social service sector. Angela has also volunteered with CESO, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that, CESO, through which she has worked with First Nation communities in Northern Ontario, Yellowknife, and the Northwest Territories. She's a board of director of Focus Accreditation, the Ontario Nonprofit Network, and the board chair of Central Park Baptist Church. In previous years, she held positions such as board chair of Telecare Distress Center Brampton, which is now part of the Distress Centers of Greater Toronto, and was actively involved in the United Way of Peel Region, in International Association of Business Communicators, the Association of Professional Fundraisers, the Brampton Board of Trade, Correctional Services Canada, and the Rotary Club of Barbados. She has received many awards over the years for her voluntary and professional work. An avid lifelong learner, Angela has taken and continues to pursue courses in various disciplines. She obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree in Liberal Studies from York University, Ontario, and a Master's of Professional Communication degree with specialization in intercultural and international communication from the Royal Roads University in British Columbia. Angela, I'm very excited to learn about your achievements. And your role as a powerful influencer, you are impacting many lives by enhancing their socioeconomic growth, success, and constructing a dynamic community. In closing, two quotes come to mind. As we look ahead into the new century, leaders will be those who empower others, by Bill Gates. The second quote, the gig economy is empowerment. This new business paradigm empowers individuals to better shape their own destiny and leverage their existing assets to their benefit, by John McPhee. I am delighted to present to you the award this evening and welcome you to the stage, which you already have. I'm a little bit behind. I'm a little bit behind. Yeah, thank you. Please accept this award.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you believe I'm nervous? Those of you who know me that I don't get nervous. But thank you. Thank you to the Somani family. Thank you to DynaCare. Thank you to the Board of Trade. But first of all, I want to say thanks to God for giving me the ability, the wisdom, and the discernment to be able to accomplish what I have done so far. I really am honored to be presented with this award, honoring the great legacy of Naseem, with the Naseem Somani Memorial Leadership Excellence Award. She was an outstanding example for women in leadership positions. It took me a few days after I spoke to Daniel Lewis, chair of the board, for his message to sink in, because it was that I saw his email to say he wanted to talk to me, and I was really, really busy. Then I got another email from Christy asking about something. Then she said, "Did you speak with Daniel?" And I was like, "Oh, I better speak to Daniel then." So I called him, and he told me, and I was floored, because I am following in the footsteps of Linda Ford President of the Business and Professional Women Association. Charmaine Williams, who is now Minister of Associate Minister of the Office of Women's Social and Economic Opportunity in the provincial government. And Dr. Janet Morrison, President and Vice Chancellor at Sheridan College. I did not believe that I was in their category. I shouldn't say that, but I didn't. So I was really surprised when I got the call. Then I thought, I'm lowering my expectations. Why shouldn't I not be in that category? So I know I'm being recognized for doing the work I love. That is leading Roots Community Services, an organization that's dedicated to the upliftment of people, especially from Black, African, and Caribbean communities, advocating for dismantling of racism and systemic discrimination from within ourselves, our organizations, and our institutions, and seeking to have social justice and racial equity embodied in everything we do. My journey to social justice actually started around the age of 8 years old, when I was just sitting on the veranda from Barbados, sitting in the veranda, watching the traffic go by and people just walk in. And a question popped into my head. I was just about 8. And it was, do you have to be white to be rich? Why? Because what I was noticing was that the people, my neighbors who lived at one end of the street, lived in chattel houses, they took the public transport. At the other end of the street, people had cars, lived in bungalows, and they were well-to-do, as we would say back home. And, the houses were up front, they were wooden houses, these others were wall bungalows. And it just struck me why. We were in the middle, I was straddling both. So why is that? Of course, I did not understand what that was about. I didn't understand racism or discrimination or anything at that age. But what I saw was that disparity, was a disparity. And I questioned it. I didn't have anyone to ask the question of, but I asked that question of myself. And then over the years, I sought to find the answer. But that was, so that started my journey into understanding inequities and disparities in society and the systems that created and perpetuated these imbalances, inequities against women, the aged, people with disabilities. Back then I felt it was wrong. Why do we have these disparities? Why should there be differences in people? Today I know it is wrong. Why should someone be discriminated against because of their skin color, their gender, sexual orientation, race? Why? So I've spent most of the 34 years I have been in Canada. I moved here in 1989 from that tiny dot of an island called Barbados. And I have been bringing attention to these issues and for people to see the value and worth of each other beyond their skin color, beyond their age, beyond their gender, beyond their sexual orientation. Why do we need these things to marginalize others? Why can't we all live together in harmony? So that's what we strive for at Roots Community Services. We embrace and serve anyone who walks through our doors. We do focus on the Black, African, and Caribbean communities because this is a group that have been marginalized and neglected for centuries. And we saw the results during COVID, right? We saw the results of those who were marginalized, women who were working in low-paying jobs, women who were on the front lines were the ones who were dying, people that were from marginalized, racialized communities like the Black communities, the South Asian communities, the Arabic communities. We saw that. Why should that be happening? Why should certain groups be always suffering and not others? Where's the equity? So our agency actually took on the role of reaching deep into the heart of our communities right across Peel region during COVID. There were 6 lead agencies here within the region of Peel. The other agencies were given specific geographic locations in which to work. We took on that task of working right across Peel region for the Black, African, and Caribbean communities. Because we knew our communities, we knew that they needed to hear from people they can trust to bring them the unvarnished truth. They needed affairs to be dispelled. They needed to get rid of the hesitancy that they had. They wanted to get the truth about COVID and what it was going to do to them. We had our ambassadors on the streets every day going into the heart of the community at grocery stores. When people were in lockdown, they were on the streets working to bring the information, the facts as we know them to people, not to force them to do anything that they don't want to do, but to ensure that they can protect themselves and their families. And we, along with the other 5 agencies in Peel, were able to move the region from being the hot spot in Ontario for COVID cases to being one of the most vaccinated regions for doses 1 and 2 within Ontario. So we were very proud of that work. So I'm not here really to give a lecture on racism and inequities and stuff, but I know I'm receiving this award due to the advocacy that we have undertaken to see barriers removed and access open up for people who are racialized and marginalized. And actually, I had forgotten that when I was a member of the Board of Trade some 20 years ago, that I was one of a group that was instrumental in helping to start the Multicultural Committee to provide access to growing numbers of immigrants and racialized people coming into Brampton. And Indira Prasad, I'm not sure she's here, she reminded me of that the other day. And one of the first things we did was to create a welcome sign in various languages. I don't know, people who were back then, if you can remember that. Anyone can remember? Rob, were you there then? Yes? So, I had it from ever since. I just wanted, let's embrace everyone, let's welcome everyone, let's make everyone feel good, feel that they're worthy. So, So as I accept this award, I'm standing here with so many others at my side, behind and in front of me, who have pushed me, pulled me, held my hand, hugged me, encouraged me, and shed a tear with me. I want to say thanks to my daughters, Jillian and Alana, who are here today. And I know who I've often neglected as I followed my adventurous and curious inclinations. My grandson, Javian, he's here to celebrate with me. And I have 3 other grandsons who weren't able to make it, but Javian, thank you for coming. My partner, Lon, who I now neglect as I fight for equity and inclusion. My siblings, some of whom are here today, 3 of my sisters. My awesome team at Roots Community Services, staff, directors, volunteers, my team. Hey, wave, guys. You all are behind me all the time. This award is for you as well, because you helped me to shine. And my community allies and partners that join in the fight for an equitable society for all, that challenge the system leaders and hold them accountable for walking the talk, and that take time to reflect inwardly on themselves to make the necessary changes from within. And I know I have my table over there at number 25. Thank you so much. You mean so much to me. I know that I can walk with you, you're there, I can call on you at any time, so thank you. I also take this time to recognize some young people who are participants in our youth business mentoring program. They're here. Yes, 3 of them or 2 of them are here. Thank you. Thank you for coming. They are learning the rudiments of managing a business successfully while also gaining a deeper knowledge about their identity. This is one of the ways we are breaking down barriers. So that youth business program, mentoring program, we're always looking for mentors, but it's a group where we put the mentors through program. They learn all they have to marketing and finance and budgeting, everything to run a business successfully. Because we want them to really grow up to run successful businesses. We want them to build up and help uplift the community as they grow, and that's why we're doing it. So we don't always want to do counseling, we also want to do that building up of our community and of our young people. So thanks again to all of you for supporting, encouraging, challenging, and putting up with me at times. I will continue to do this work as long as I can, and give thanks for every small step I see where we have made a difference. And as we celebrate International Women's Day on March 8th, let us all reflect on how we individually can remove the barriers that hold so many people back. Let us all strive to love each other, love ourselves first, and love each other. Thank you very much.
That was wonderful, Angela. Thank you so much. Thank you for reminding me of all the people we all neglect to get where we're going. And also about the importance of asking questions of why. Curiosity is something that we should encourage in everybody in this room, and inspiration comes from encouragement. And I hope all of you take away tonight the ability to ask why, to look around you, perhaps not from Barbados, but from your own front porch. So another big round of applause for Angela. And she will be here for the remainder of the night, so please connect with her. Before we move into our next section, I'd like to invite Mayor Patrick Brown to the microphone to bring greetings from the City of Brampton.
I'm going to ask Councillor Santos to join me as well. Well, first of all, I want to congratulate the Board of Trade for hosting this annual event on the eve of International Women's Day on March 8th. The Board of Trade does an incredible job putting this on each year and honoring someone who is a force of nature in our community. And of course, being named after Naseem Samani, who will forever be remembered for the incredible heart that she had and the legacy she's left in DynaCare. It's beautiful to see her legacy carried on, paying tribute to incredible citizens each year. And it's nice to see that DynaCare Vito is here and always supportive of this event. A big hand to Naseem's friends, family, and colleagues at DynaCare. It was touching. I think it was last summer when we had the honorary street naming to sort of permanently put Naseem into our city's infrastructure. I'm sure one day we'll be naming a street after Angela as well. But she's that type of living legend. But Angela, I just want to say on behalf of the city, you know, it's such a joy to have someone like you who throws so much dedication into helping others. I've seen firsthand, you know, during the pandemic when Dr. Lowe and Peel Public Health had to lean on someone to help. It was Angela they called, those pop-up vaccine clinics targeting those who could be most vulnerable. It was Angela that we leaned on, and her work was extraordinary. I looked more recently when the Ministry of Justice were looking at someone to have a mental health partnership with. Once again, it was Angela Carter they called. And so there are some people in every community, when there is an important task, you know where to go, and Angela has always been that force in our community. And I see so many, actually I see a lot of city staff here tonight. And actually, I'm just I know a few of you don't like to be singled out, but can I have the city staff just to stand for a second? I see table 23, table 22,
table 14.
Table 14. There you go. There you go. Oh, great. And I should recognize we have our CEO, Marlon Caladine, here. But the reason there's so many city staff here is they've all had such the honor to work with you. And whether it is confronting systemic racism, whether it's supporting the economic development efforts, there's so many departments in the city that you've been able to be an ally for. And so I think tonight's award, when I read it was going to be you, I thought how appropriate. And so on behalf of the city of Brampton, I want to thank you for the role model you are. And every city needs role models. You know, Councillor Santos always tells me we need good allies around the table, yes. But I also believe we need role models. And, you know, my daughter Savannah is almost 2, she'll be 2 in April, and I want her to grow up in a city where she has role models like you that she can look up to. So thank you for being such a great example in our city. And Councillor Santos, I know, is going to want to invite everyone here to our International Women's Day celebration next week. But I should just note, we finished a long City Council meeting today. And during the City Council meeting, Councillor Santos reminded us that for every initiative we embark upon in the city, we should look at the gender-based analysis. And today, it was making sure that when we build rec centers, there is parking for expectant mothers. And so I know Councillor Santos is passionate about celebrating role models like yourself, and I thought it would only be appropriate to hear from someone who has been a champion around our table to also recognize you.
And thank you, Mayor Brown, and thank you to everyone here this evening, especially the amazing women who work at the city who are here today, who even at leadership tables, and I know, Angela, you experience this as well, when you walk into a room, sometimes you're the only woman there, or one of very few, and that could feel very overwhelming at times. And so you as a role model, as an inspiration, I always say for International Women's Day, as a woman, take your place, own the space, and do it with style, humor, smarts, and grace. And Angela, that is you. So thank you and congratulations. And I will share one funny story, because it is a funny story about allies on our council table. So the motion that was brought forward about parking for expectant mothers was brought forward by Councillor Paleshi, who is an ally, a true ally on council. And what was so fantastic was both Councillor Paleshi and Councillor Keenan started to describe what it was like to be pregnant. And Councillor Brar and I looked at each other, Councillor Navjeet Brar, who was not able to make it tonight because she's looking after her children because her husband is traveling. So kudos to my colleague Navjeet Brar, but we looked at each other when they were both describing how difficult it is to waddle down the parking lot in order to, with a toddler, you're holding a toddler and a stroller, and how difficult that is. And we said, you know what, and we laughed about it, and we said, thank you for being good allies. Thank you for sharing what it's like to be pregnant. And, and thank you for bringing forward the motion. And so I wanted to share that story because Mayor Brown, along with many of my colleagues on council, while they don't know what it's like to be pregnant, we need their allyship in order for all of us to be lifted up. So continue taking your place, owning the space, and doing it with style, humor, smarts, and grace. And I want to acknowledge the 2 young women in the room who we brought today, who are young entrepreneurs from Jean Augustine Secondary School. They started a business called Treat Killa, and they're looking for mentors. And they have a baking company. So please reach out to them. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Angela, for being inspiration. Thank you, Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Thank you, Councillor Santos. And again, Angela, congratulations as you join the League of Giants and past winners. So I won't hold you back from getting a snack and refreshing your plates too long. So please get up, refill your plates, get something to drink, and chat with guests. Also, we have a photo booth, and I haven't seen many people there yet, so I'm hoping you'll meet me over there. Silly and serious photos are encouraged, and when we return, you'll have a treat from our keynote speaker who has saved the world from lost mittens and lost water bottles. So I'm very excited to introduce Julie Cole, who went from lawyer to CEO while having 6 kids, as if one of those things were not enough. And she's saved the world from millions of lost items. Julie is the co-founder and senior director of Mabel's Labels. She is an award-winning entrepreneur, best-selling author, and sought-after speaker and MC. Julie is no stranger to the media, having appeared on NBC's Today Show, HLN's Raising America, Breakfast Television, The Marilyn Dennis Show, CP24, among many others. Her articles have appeared in the Huffington Post, Today's Parent, The Globe and Mail, Prophet Magazine, Working Mothers magazines, and numerous other websites. I was almost out of breath listing all your accomplishments. When she's not juggling her busy family, again, 6 kids, and professional life, Julie is an engaged community member, serving on boards and volunteering. She is passionate about women's issues, mentoring young entrepreneurs, and social justice. Please join me in welcoming Julie to the stage.
You know, usually I get a little exhausted after I hear my bio, but after seeing Angela, I feel like a complete slacker. Who's with me? I gotta do more. Okay, I'm going with the big green button, right, Nolan? Is that what I'm doing here? Managing the mother load. That's what I'm gonna talk about a little bit. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Mabel's Labels, how it started, about being an entrepreneur and being an entrepreneur for those of you who work for a company. This won't be lost on you. So 20 years ago, it's actually our birthday this month, we started Mabel's Labels. Started for 2 reasons. You gotta know your why, right? So one why was that there was a product missing from the market. We had little kids, we were using masking tape and permanent marker, and it didn't work very well. And the other why was my son. I'd become a mother. I had a 3-year-old who received an autism diagnosis. And as was mentioned, I'm a recovered lawyer, 12-step program, very, very helpful. And I just didn't think the traditional workforce was going to suit me any longer. He also already had 2 younger siblings. I was busy. And so I thought, I went to my co-founders, one's my sister and a sister-in-law and a young aunt, we're all friends at university. Oh yay, they're dimming, so you can see the PowerPoint. So that's when I went to them. I said, look, guys, Mac has been diagnosed with autism. I need to set up a really cool program for him. I need to advocate. I need to do all the things. I need flexibility that the traditional workforce doesn't allow. So I think now's the time. And they're like, yep, let's do this. 20 years later, we have not looked back. It was busy, though. It was like, I remember being pregnant with my 4th, Jessamy, who's heading off to university next year. And making labels till 2 in the morning, and then, getting up with kids at 6 and doing the do, and going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning again after, and then getting up at 6. And I will say, and a lot of you will know this, that entrepreneurialism is often very romanticized. People think, oh, you've got a best-selling book, you do talks, you win awards, you go to things. And I'm like, yeah, but I've been in line for 20 years, and really entrepreneurialism looks a lot like making labels in a basement till 2 a.m. It's not having a glass of wine and watching Netflix when the kids are down. It's not doing any of that. It's doing without your salary for a while. So yes, don't romanticize it if you're thinking of taking up that side hustle. We outgrew our first little dingy basement in Hamilton, and rather than getting a production facility and renting a space, we told my sister to buy a bigger house with a bigger basement. She did. We lasted there 2 years, and then we went to where we are now. We're in a 16,000 square foot facility, 50 full-time employees. We do about 14 million in sales a year. And my son, I will tell you, my son, Mr. McGinnis, he's like there. He is 23, and he just graduated from the University of Guelph. He's currently backpacking through Australia. He has got his license. He's got loads of friends. He has a black belt. He has done aid work in Africa. So, as Mabel's has grown and succeeded, so has he. And I often say that on my deathbed, I'll say he's my life's greatest achievement, and the other 5 are okay, too. Most of the time. Okay, I want to talk about having it all, because it seems to be a thing for women that's not for men. Why is that? Why do people ask women or consider women? It's very gendered. And I think it's because for men, people assume they have a woman at home taking care of all the things. We don't have that. So what does it mean? What is this having it all? We've got kids, work, yoga, drinks nights with the ladies, euchre tournaments, chili. What does it really mean? And I think we can all relate a little bit to this. My mom, wow, it's so nice of Jeff to watch your kids for the next few days while you're gone. Me, yes, he is very excited to continue being a father. When Daddy goes to events like this, or work events, I asked him once, I was like, what do you do when people say, who's got the kids? And he's like, oh, wow, I've never been asked that question. I'm like, interesting. I've never not been asked that question. So ladies, we got work to do. But I want you to remember, having it all is having what you want. Don't let society project onto you. For me, having it all was having 6 kids. It was working in a basement till 2 a.m., making labels. I had a friend who overheard some women talking about me in line at Wonderland. That Julie Cole, do you read her blog, Mabel's Labels? Oh my God, her life must be hell. She's got 6 kids, one has autism. And my friend's like, wow, that's so funny, because Julie thinks her life is the best. So remember, having it all is having what you want. How do I manage it all? People always ask that. I say no a lot. I say no to my kids. They come home, Ma, I need 24 cupcakes tomorrow for school. I'm like, are you new here? Have we just met? Never going to happen. My kids forget their lunch. I don't bring it. Nobody's starved. Nobody's had scurvy. They're fine. And then guess what? They only do it once. They only do it once. They forget their gym clothes, they sit out of gym. They forget their assignment, they get a B instead of an A. They forget their homework, stay in at recess. You know how the secretary's got that table beside her where people drop off stuff? I call that the enable table. And it should not be there. Because guess what? I got stuff to do. And it's not chasing you 6 people around. I got stuff to do. I have to be highly productive, and so do you all. So at home, tell your kids no and tell them it a lot. I say no at work. Invite me to a meeting without an agenda? Guess who's going to ghost you? Not going. You cannot pop in my office when I'm head down doing a project, because guess what? I solve your problems, then I have to go back. It takes me 10 minutes to get back in my game. You want to meet with me? That's great. Just shoot me an email. When I turn my notifications back on, at the end of the hour, I'll see it, and I'll grant you a meeting. As I say at work, as I say in life, as I say to my children, your lack of planning does not constitute my emergency. Write that down, mothers. And for goodness sakes, lower your standards, people. It doesn't have to be perfect. When it's crazy, like I just have a baby, like, yeah, we're having hot dogs a few nights in a row. We're ordering pizza. They're watching too much Teletubbies. That made you myself there. Or Octonauts. So, you know what? It's okay. Don't be hard on yourself for that. You're not in your best space. It's like me in August. It's back to school time at Mabel's Labels. I'm crazy. So things aren't going to be perfect on the home front, and that's okay. I gave up mom guilt 4 kids ago because it's completely not helpful. So you know what? If you can't get everything done, if you're in survival mode, that's all right. The kids are gonna be fine. Cut yourself some slack. And for goodness sakes, get some help. I got a nanny when my 5th kid was 1. 3 kids too late. 3 kids too late. Get at least somebody to come clean your house every couple of weeks. Do your, just the toilets and the floors, and you know what? And that's the thing. Like, I'm not really good at that stuff. So I'll hire somebody and pay them, and they'll pay me to make them labels, and then I pay the baker to make the cupcakes for my kids, because I'm not making cupcakes for my kids. I'll let the baker do it. That's what they're good at. That's how the economy works. So let's just keep that money going, ladies. It's keep that money going. So yeah, get help with your house because it's cheaper than marriage counseling, which you will end up in if you keep fighting about the chores. And start feeding them more craft dinner. Remember, you're not saving lives. I know in August at Mabel's Labels, we're running around like chickens with their head cut off. It's a back to school season, and we have shifts going 24/7, hair on fire, get the labels out the door. And then sometimes I'm just like, guys, let's bring it in here. We make labels. We're not saving lives. I haven't pulled out the defibrillator, not doing the Heimlich maneuver. We're not saving lives. And of course, I take my business very seriously. We wouldn't be where we are if I didn't. But come on, a little perspective can go a long, long way. And I'm like that with my kids too. Like, they don't get cell phones when they're like kids because, quite frankly, I don't want them calling me. Oh, you all say, oh, they need to call for an emergency. And I'm like, I know what the emergency is. Pick me up at the mall a little later. I'm going to be late for dinner because I want to stay at Bobby's house a bit longer. To me, today's problem solvers are tomorrow's leaders. I don't want them calling me to solve their problems for them. You fall off your bike, knock on a neighbor's door, throw your brother over his shoulder, come throw him on the couch, go back at the bike. Don't call me to come pick up you and your stupid bike down the street. And that's what's going to happen. Teenagers, I got a bunch of teenagers now. And, parents of teens are kooky, and they have all these tracking devices on their teens so they can see where they are. Why do you want to know where they are? Like, let them go do their thing. Let them learn. Let them make mistakes. I know when push comes to shove and they get in trouble, I'm going to hear about it. They're going to call me. I'm going to know. So, you know what? Let them experiment. Let them get out there. We don't need to helicopter. We don't need to snowplow. The 70s called. They want their kids back. And this is about making our kids so that we can be productive, making them independent so we can be productive, and so that they're also out of our houses at some point. I mean, don't we all want to be empty nesters? I sure do. Your mindset. I always say when life gives me lemons, I make a gin and tonic. Really, my mindset is my secret sauce. I don't take myself too seriously. You could all come over to my house right now, and I would not care if you thought it was dirty, because guess what? It is. I'm okay with that. One thing I try not to do is I don't complain. And I'm not talking this toxic positivity stuff. I mean, I don't complain about stuff I can't change. If there's a problem, change it. Like, I'm the author of this book. Like, I can write the next chapter. So I have found that saying I'm tired has not led to a bed appearing or me suddenly having this slumber fairy come down and say, Julie, you deserve a nap. So guess what? If I'm tired, make some changes. Saying I'm busy, who isn't busy? Oh, it's just so boring. It's so boring to hear busy and tired all the time. So if you're feeling these things, make a change. And it's funny how that negative mindset goes. Challenge you right now, 24 hours without complaining. See how you go. It's very fascinating. I was actually raised by a mother who never complained. It was such a gift. I am so thankful to my mother for that. I always say your network is your net worth. I'm preaching the converted here, preaching the choir, whatever the expression is, because you are all here. You get how important your networks are, especially coming out of COVID and getting back to in person and seeing people. But the reason I think it's so important, this entrepreneurial journey can be so isolating and so lonely. And guess what? We get in our heads. You got to talk to people and make sure you're not being held back by plastic blue chairs. You got to talk to people, say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Is this like, and same with our parenting. Talk to other parents about what they're going through so that you're not like, my kid is still eating sand and he's 5. He's not going to go to university eating sand. But we get in our heads, we build things up. So if you're finding you're doing that, make sure you're connecting on, there's Facebook groups, there's networking groups, there's Brampton Board of Trade. So make sure you're just getting out there and not getting too in your head without somebody saying, hey, dude, I want you to step off the ledge here. Yes, comparison is the thief of joy. And I think with social media right now, we all know that. We see everybody's highlight reels. And let's face it, perfect like husbands and kids exist on Facebook status updates, Insta stories, and movies, right? Remember, you're only seeing what people want you to see. You gotta remember that. So if you're ever finding yourself frustrated, if it's ever impacting you, there's a really good feature called unfollow. You don't have to like unfriend your auntie or your neighbor or your friend from high school or whatever, but you cannot unfollow them so their annoying posts don't keep coming in your feed. And if you have to take a little social media break, that's okay too. And I just wanted to say, I'm not sure if we're doing Q&A or not, but I'm here and I'm hanging around. If you want to come and chat, please do keep in touch. As was mentioned, you can find me at mavelslabels.com/Julie Cole. My book hit bestseller last May. It's called Like a Mother, Birthing Businesses, Babies, and a Life Beyond Labels. And it's full of my life hacks, biz hacks, mom hacks, all that jazz. So thank you so much for inviting me. This is a really amazing, rigorous organization. Love it.
So friends, now we're all friends, because I'm going to say that and I have the microphone. We're getting close to wrapping up the evening, but what we aren't wrapping up is the work that needs to be done to continue to celebrate the efforts and contributions of women around your tables and women around the world. It starts here with encouraging and building each other up and carries into our everyday lives. When one woman breaks this glass ceiling, we all move forward. And I really want to thank Angela for teaching us to say why, to Julie for teaching us to say no, and for Naseem and her family for teaching about kindness and entrepreneurship and community participation. And thank you all for creating space tonight and sharing your journey and inspiring each other. I encourage you to stay a while, exchange some information. Julie's, I think, was still up there, or you can go to her house after, I heard. And we look forward to seeing everybody at the next event.